Finally, the sun is out. It's been a long time and you might not be familiar with it, but the big yellow fella's back. So how's February going where you are? It's been a really wet month here. This area behind me is normally dry, and as you can see it's quite swampy. So it's been tricky trying to get out and do things up on the allotment. Being at home does give you a bit of time to think, and I've had a few ideas about how to minimise plastic, so I'm going to share that with you a bit later on. I spoke too soon and it's just poured down, hence the lovely rainbow. So let's head home where I'm on a quest for light and I've got some really exciting news to share. I've been doing all my seedlings at home because the allotment is about a 15-minute drive away and I don't have the time to go up and down in the week to do that when I'm working. I don't have a greenhouse, so the only place I can do it is in the house. Now, I've used up all my available windowsills, all my available grow lights. I've even got plants spread out across the floor in the kitchen under the skylight to get the light, but I still need more light. I've got this cold frame on the left. I made that one myself using the free wood and the free polycarbonate. I can put a link into that in the description below. And then I picked up this one on Facebook, so that was a freebie. So there's something else I've got to put my plants out into. I was looking for something cheap and cheerful I could put down the side of the house because I've got such a small back garden, and I found this one in a really cheap shop. So I'm going to pop that up, and then I'm going to be able to create a bit more space on the windowsills for the seedlings that have now germinated and they need the light, and I'm going to put the things that I can start hardening off outside into this little greenhouse. Because we've been getting so many storms this winter, this thing is so light it's going to blow away with a puff of breeze. I've put a little hook in and used some cable ties just so that it doesn't blow away. I appreciate that's a shoddy job, but I was too scared to go any deeper, and it looks like it'll hold. So there they are, look quite happy in there. I'll leave them for a few hours this afternoon and bring them back in overnight so the frost doesn't get them. Not that we're expecting frost, but it's going to be down to about, I think, 2 degrees tonight. The reason I've chosen this little spot is because even when we do get a frost, right by the side of the house here where I put the car, my windscreen always stays clear, so it is slightly protected. She's happy, found a ball that belongs to the neighbour's dog. As you can probably see over my shoulder there, the house is a bit chaotic. That's where I've been putting quite a lot of my seedlings until I built that little greenhouse. So they've been sitting under that skylight. It's not done a bad job, and I've got some of these little octopus grow lights I put on for the whole day, even though we've got this light, and that's worked fairly well. And all my windowsills have been full, so it has been a bit chaotic, and it's going to get worse because I need to plant some more seeds. Now, I've been following good old Charles Dowding's little calendar here of when to plant your vegetables, but I'm running out of all my equipment, and I was resolute. I want to try and minimise the amount of plastic that I'm using. So hear me out on this one. I don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea. But I thought, instead of seed trays, I'm going to use my soil blocker to make my next little lot of soil blocks, and I'm going to line them up in the foil tray because I thought it's reusable, it's recyclable, it's not introducing more plastic into the world. So this is what I'm going to try, see how it works. there were some really big ones out there, but I thought if I go for the small ones, they're going to fit. I could probably line up about 3 on the windowsill, and the soil blocks, when they're wet, they're quite heavy. So I thought if I had a great big one, it's bound to warp and bow when I move it around. So I thought I'll go with this size. Anyway, I'm going to give that a try for my next little set of seedlings that I'm going to plant out. And I have some very exciting news. I'm very excited anyway. So in a couple of weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, I'm actually going to go to Homemakers. So I'm going to spend the afternoon there. I'm going to have a little afternoon with the man, the myth, the legend that is Charles Dowding, and just pick up some of his tips and advice. It's not a million miles from here, and it's not overly expensive. It's certainly no more than you'd pay for a ticket to go and see a band. I do a lot of that, so I figured that would be a good investment as I'm starting out. I really don't know much about growing veg, so I thought I would spend the afternoon at Homemakers and pick up some tips. So if you're interested in hearing how that went, it's probably in about 3 weeks' time. So if you subscribe, and you'll get notified. If not, if you subscribe, then you'll see when it comes up. You might hopefully learn something too. I'll pass on whatever I learn. I find this soil blocker really easy to use. The one I'm using is about a 2-inch square or 5 centimetres squared, and I've used it so far for chilies and aubergines, and they seem really happy with it. If you want to know how to use one, I have done a video, so I'll put a link in the description below. So I think that worked out quite well. I've managed to fit 5 rows from the soil blocker, so there's 20 blocks in there. And the things that I'm going to sow today are some cauliflower. We did this previously, but it went all leggy because of the lack of light. Calabrese, looks like broccoli. Don't think I've ever had that. Just some salad leaves, some spinach, and some coriander. And I'm going to try out, because we have fun trying to sow seeds, such tiny ones. I'm going to try out this little gadget here. It's by a company called Speedy Weed, and you load your seeds inside, and then as you push the plunger, it drops them out 1 or 2 at a time. So with ham-fisted people, you might sprinkle hundreds in there and end up with them all clustered together. So I'm gonna give this a go, see if it works. It dropped 5 seeds in. I'm going to do it by hand. I'll give it one more go. No, I wouldn't bother. I'm just going to cover them with a little sprinkle of compost, and that's it done. I'll go and pop them on the heat mats. I think my little trays have worked out quite well. I've picked them up without them falling apart, so that's a good start. So this is what I've been up to this week. Hopefully I'll be up on the allotment when the weather changes. And if you'd like to see how that's coming along, please subscribe. It'd be lovely to have all your tips and advice.